So welcome back to a brand new episode of Walkin Talkin with Tim. So today's guest is my good friend, Dave Epstein. David?
Dave,
What do you generally go by? I never asked you that question.
Hey, as long as you're not my mom or my grandma, I go by Dave.
So it's Dave Epstein, and Dave is the founder and president of Intelligent Staffing. And you're out the King of Prussia area, right?
Yes, sir.
Where's the business exactly? What town?
So we're actually all remote, but we're in the King of Prussia area with a satellite office in Kennett Square.
There you go. So we were walking and talking about how you got involved in staffing and what you do with staffing. And what I thought was the coolest thing that you said is that you figure out what people like to do and then you match them with something they love, right?
Exactly.
And that was the coolest statement you made, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later with something else, but tell the audience basically what exactly it is that intelligent staffing does and how you do it differently, because you have a very unique style.
Absolutely. So intelligent staffing's model, the way we call it, is it's very much about putting in your order. So our partner clients will literally tell us everything from their non-negotiables to the culture within the culture of the company, to questions that they want us to ask. And they're basically putting in their order, and we call it, hey, we're gonna go to our intelligent staffing kitchen. We're gonna create and cook you 3 delicious meals. You'll love your experience at the intelligent staffing restaurant, and when you wake up, man, you're not gonna be able to stop talking about how delicious that Tim Jennings was. And that's who gets the offer.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So, and you said also that you also told me you love what you do. So, at the end of the day, separating what you do from what you like to do is not that big of a difference for you, right? I mean, obviously you got a lot of great things in your life, because we'll get into that too. Yep. Let's start with this one. So let's stay on the matching piece, right? So you told me that you met your wife through J-Swipe.
J-Swipe, that's correct.
You swiped right.
I did. We matched. We got a big mazel tov at the top of it. So.
And you were number 3.
I was the number 3. That's correct.
Lucky 3.
That's right.
You said you were glad there was not a number 4.
Exactly. Who knows where I could have been today?
And your wife, you said, you're both. No. You told me you are originally from Jersey.
Correct. Yep.
And you transplanted over to Pennsylvania, right?
Yep.
And you both lived in Philadelphia at the time, right?
Correct.
So if that's the case, then what did your wife do then? I didn't ask that question.
Yeah, so my wife was wrapping up her fellowship. She's a pediatric nephrologist, so she was at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. And after a couple years, made the move down to Nemours DuPont, and that's what kind of precipitated the move out to the Kennett Square area.
So Nemours DuPont, right?
Yep.
So what does your wife do?
She's a pediatric nephrologist, so kidney doctor for children.
How about that?
Yeah.
So you also told me that 2016 was a huge year for you.
Absolutely, one of the most monumental of my life.
Pitch it.
Started Intelligent Staffing in August of 2016. Found who I thought was my original soulmate, my dog Rupert, the beagle, in September of 16, and then found my true soulmate, Caroline, in October of 16.
Roger that.
Yeah.
And we talked about things that you like to do when you're not working. Your original answer was not a whole lot. Like maybe just watching TV. Like you told me you like to watch the train wrecks, like my wife does. Like like Below Deck.
Anything on Bravo is my jam.
And that, right? You and my wife. I can't wait till we get back. But but you also started to get into, which is kind of cool, sports. You're a big sports fan.
Yep, big Philadelphia sports nut for sure.
So you're the guy that watches all the baseball games on TV, all that good stuff, right?
I call it a remote dropper. You throw on the Phillies, throw on the Sixers, Eagles, whatever. You throw the remote down, you drop it, and you're good for a couple hours.
And we talked about what your kind of favorite kind of music was.
Yeah.
And that was classic rock.
Classic rock, and then on the other side, really calm, cool piano.
But why classic rock?
Grew up with my parents. I mean, since I was a kid, we had the original record player, which hopefully people watching still understand what a record player is.
I was at a record store last night.
There you go. From the Beatles to Bruce Springsteen to Billy Joel, Dave Mason. I mean, everybody under the sun, and still love it today.
That's a whole other conversation that I never get to have when we're on camera. Is I miss record stores.
Yeah.
You miss Tower Records, you miss, Wall to Wall, all those places that used to be around, and you went in and you didn't just buy stuff because you heard it on the radio or because somebody played it for you. You walked in, you saw an album cover.
Yeah.
And you're like, holy, I gotta have
you
that.
love the jacket. Yep.
Right? It was something about it that there was more art involved than just the music. It was also the look, the feel, and the artist. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, so what else did we talk about? We talked about the fact that your dog has to have a place to be in your house.
Absolutely.
And you told me that it's your closet. Explain.
My closet. Yeah. So when I'm not out and about walking and talking with Tim, sometimes a daily uniform might just be a nice, comfortable, cozy pair of sweatpants. So, I found that Rupert took a loving to that. So just started throwing it all in one of my closets. And before I knew it, that was his favorite place to be. Just, plopping right on top of my sweatpants and just having that safety of those 3 walls, making sure that he always had an eye on Dad so he could follow me wherever I went.
To say Rupert is your bestie would not be a stretch.
Well,
outside your wife.
I would say Caroline, my wife. If you're watching this, you're number 1.
Yes, of course.
But yeah, Rupert's a close second. Oh, actually, my
son.
My son. He's
that's next. So let's go into that. So you
true.
just had your son.
Yes, Alexander.
There you go.
Yeah.
And how old now?
He 10 and a half months.
10 and a half months.
Yeah.
Man, that went fast.
Crazy fast.
Man, you're gonna be a year old and so quickly.
He's gonna be walking and talking soon. So could be your next guest.
Yeah, you're right. So how's that going, man?
Oh, it's
how's it being a dad?
Being a dad is the best title that I've ever had. Every single day when you wake up and you go in his room and you just see him smile, and right now he just looks at me and goes, "Ah," and it melts your heart.
And speaking of being a dad, you talked about the fact that, your mom and dad, you said met in Brooklyn, or from Brooklyn.
My grandparents met in Brooklyn. Yeah, my parents grew up across the street from each other in Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
I was a whole generation off.
That's okay.
So your grandparents met in Brooklyn,
Yes.
and your parents, where again?
They grew up across the street from each other in Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
See that? He's a Jersey boy all the way.
Through and through.
Yeah. He lives in Pennsylvania, but he's one of us,
I
right?
still got my 609 number, all right? Till I die.
So how did your parents meet?
Like I said, they grew up across the street from each other. My
And that
dad
was it?
my dad was close with my uncles, and they met, I don't know, probably when they were 5 or 6 years old. But they got together in their later 20s.
So mom was the girl next door.
She absolutely was.
Gotta love that. And you said your family is still international. You have people all over the world. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, no, we have some relatives in Budapest, Hungary, in Israel, Russia, Canada, and a lot of us, here in the States.
So the Canada piece comes from your wife, right?
Correct. Yes.
And who's in Canada?
So my entire wife's family is in Canada. So my wife's mom is from Montreal, and my wife's father is from Toronto.
Do you get to go there a lot, or?
Before COVID, yes, but in all honesty, since COVID happened, we have yet to cross the border, but that's in the cards.
So you said you speak another language. How many do you speak?
Spanish at, I would say, a 6 out of 10 level. So enough to get by and be dangerous, but not enough to put professional working experience or fluency on a resume.
Roger that.
Yeah.
You also told me something pretty cool, that getting into staffing, one of the things that you did was Penn State, right?
Yep.
Penn State guy. But during Penn State, actually, you said you did like an internship with, it was a casino, right?
Yeah, so growing up outside of Atlantic City, New Jersey, I did an internship with Harris and Caesars Corporation. It was a rotational HR program, and spent the entire first month in staffing and recruiting. Truly loved it, really fell in love with it. And then in subsequent months, collective bargaining, union grievances, employee
you didn't
handbook,
love?
401. No, I didn't love that at all. And it really helped steer the picture of what is now the last 17, 18 years of my life.
And that's a great thing to put out there for a lot of younger people that are thinking about doing internships, because it mattered, right? I mean, it changed your whole trajectory.
Absolutely changed my whole life.
Because if had you not done that, you'd be a lawyer right now.
I would have been a boring labor and a labor and employment attorney dealing with all of the stuff that happens along the way. But I'm having a hell of a lot more fun now.
Of course you are.
Yeah.
So, so the other thing I wanted to bring up was you, when you talked about doing the internship, you also talked about the fact that it made you realize what you loved.
Yeah.
Right? So if you were giving advice to the college students that are out there now, because you're obviously you're still on the board. You said you're on the board at Penn State for Labor and
Employment Relations School, yeah.
which is really cool, right?
Yeah, I love it.
And you got to check Dave out on LinkedIn. He's got like 20,000 followers. It's nuts. So, so having all that and having done all that and being in the business that you're in, what advice do you give to the young people coming up? Because here's the deal. I was out last night with my daughter and her boyfriend, and we were all talking about this kind of stuff. And what do you do? Like, if you want to do something crazy and wild, like, and you have a dream, how do you chase that dream, especially with you?
So the first thing is figure out what you don't want, which tends to lead you down a path of what you do want, and then just go for it. The hardest thing is just starting. And the other thing is everybody's young, especially people that are just graduating. You will make mistakes. You will fail. Realize that sooner rather than later, but make sure that you surround yourself with a good support structure so that you fail safe when you do that. I mean, the average person now, when they graduate college, by the time they're 30, they're going to have 5 jobs, okay? So that's 5 mistakes that they may have made, that's 5 wrong decisions that they may have made, or that's 5 life-changing decisions that they would have made in just the first 6 to 8 years of their life.
5 steps to the right decision.
Correct.
So where do they go for that help?
So they could go to our website, which is intelligentstaffingcompany.com. Also, they could go to my LinkedIn page, which is just type in David Epstein on LinkedIn, and you'll see my face on there as well.
You'll know it's me.
Exactly, you'll know it's me. Or you could send me an email at depstein, EPSTEIN, at intelligentstaffingcompany.com. Giddy
up. And by the way, it's a really great hat you got on there, Dave.
Thanks. My friend gave it to me. This guy. I like your hat too.
Yes, we're very matchy today. So listen, thanks for being on.
Oh, pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Lots of fun as always. And to all you guys watching, follow me on Instagram. Keep on moving, keep on walking, and we will see you next time on Walkin' and Talkin' with Tim.
See you guys.